One of the things that I talk about a lot in my marketing is what we call benefit extensions, or extending the benefit. So like in your case, a contract. So they're going to buy something that protects the relationship. Okay, that's the first benefit that they're getting from your product. Yay. Now extend the benefit. What additional tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 benefits would they derive from that first transaction? You and I both know when you have a healthy contract, you have a healthy relationship with this vendor.
Hey there, I'm Paige Griffith, your host and an attorney for small business owners. I help online businesses and creatives get legally legit in no time. This podcast is all about the legal and the page behind it. I'll break down and simplify legal talk while providing practical business guidance every step of the way. And after over a decade in the entrepreneur space and becoming a mother, I'll also be sprinkling in tips for running a business and giving you a glimpse behind the scenes of what life's really like. As a gentle reminder and disclaimer, I am an attorney, but I am not your attorney. So be sure to seek legal counsel for personalized advice. Welcome to the Legal Paige Podcast. Miss Veronica Romney, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, okay. I'm still free. Put it together, Veronica. Put it together. We're really good friends. We just push record, but I'm like squealing on the inside because I'm so excited to be here with you. I adore you. You know this.
Seriously, this is one of the most fun interviews that I've been looking forward to for, I think we planned this on Friday, so 48 hours ago.
Yes.
But you guys, Veronica and I have been good friends in the industry for a few years now. And I want you to just share with everyone how we met, kind of how you were my business mentor for a really long time. Now I send you like Mayday signals on Boxer, but what you do, why you do it so well, why you're such a genius.
Hold on a minute. The way that in which the two of us met is just epic, Paige. I can't, like, there's not a better story. So here's how this rolls, okay? First of all, this is my life. You know me through word of mouth. Somebody recommends somebody to me. That's usually how this happens. I'm the hitch of marketing. You get the card when you need some love, marketing love. And so Paige got my card from a mutual friend of ours. And then Paige goes to my sales page, the Rainmaker Residency Plus page. And at the time it was like a form, like it required you to like put in your email address to even see the page. So it was like an opt-in situation. And then she DMs me and she's like, I don't think that's perfectly legal. I'm like, excuse me? Say what? I'm like, well, it's funny because my lawyer is also your good friend, Brittany Rattel. I'm like, well, Brittany did it and said it was fine. Like I always default to the lawyer. I'm like, and she twerks and she's cool. So like if she says it's good, right? And that's literally how you dropped into my life, by like auditing my sales page from a legal perspective because you're that legit. And then, yes, you said yes and trusting me, helping me with your team. You're basically, in my program, I help CEOs not have to be their own CMOs. And I develop and train their beautiful rainmakers to make it rain for them when it comes to converting $0 to $1 in their company. And we did that for like over a year and a half together. And I've seen you have a baby, and I've seen the evolution of your business to make sure it's supporting your lifestyle at the different seasons that I've seen you go through. You've been at my events. She's really aggressive when it comes to werewolf. And like, it's been a joy. It's been an absolute joy serving you from the beginning of our relationship.
There's so many things to unpack there. Okay, first and foremost, yes, I'm obsessed with a really good game of werewolf. If you guys don't know what it is, you clearly need to go to one of these events because it's the best thing that'll ever happen to you, especially as a business owner. I am also very much obsessed with Survivor, and it is my lifelong dream to be on Survivor. And this is like another one of those social games, but in a very compact, like 1 to 2 hours. And we are both epically vicious. Yes. If I do say so myself, you're way better at werewolf than I am. But I think I'm in a close second. I'm a close second. Yes. So that was really fun. And then, you guys, Veronica has been just someone that I've had a sounding board with for many years now, but I was in her program called Rainmaker Residency for I think I started about 2 years ago. And we kind of built the whole marketing lane of the Legal Paige. I was my own marketing director, as many of us are in the entrepreneur space. We're wearing all the hats. And I was referred to her by Meredith Noble. Just shout out to Meredith. She's also been a really good industry friend of mine for a while. And she was like, I think you should talk to this lady. It kind of sounds like this is where your business might be headed. So she was seeing my business from kind of a bird's eye view, like 3 to 5 year plan. And I wasn't there yet. And then, Veronica has all this experience with training marketing directors. She was a CMO herself. She is a marketing genius and was really able to just come in, help TLP out. We definitely have a really cohesive, amazing marketing lane now. And Casey is our new marketing director, which you trained, and she's fabulous and everything. Now looking back, there's a lot of growing pains along the way, but I owe a lot of that to you. And now I Voxer you as a friend, but also as someone that's a trusted business mentor for myself, where she knows so much about the business and the back end, and also me as a visionary and as a human that I can just say, oh my gosh, this is happening. Veronica, please give me your thoughts on this. And you're so kind with your time and your wisdom. So thank you.
Oh, well, you're easy to love. Everybody that knows the page knows how easy you are to love. And I never want somebody to work with me and feel simultaneously that I'm providing counsel and then I'm also judging you. Like, no, like this is really hard. And the growing pains are growing pains. They hurt. And so you were on my podcast talking about losing a critical team member. Like we've gone through it. And what I love about you is you're wildly open and vulnerable, and you do it in the service of those who are also going through hard things. So I think it's probably one of my favorite things of you being a visionary for your own people.
Thanks. That was so kind. Yeah, you guys, I'll link that in the show notes. It's a really, really good episode on what we went through about 1.5 years ago, and how I kind of came out on the other side as a business owner and CEO and someone who was really trying to build a business from just me to having a full-fledged team of employees and contractors. We have like 10 to 15 people at this point. And I was new to the game, but Veronica wasn't. And she was able to help me out through a lot of those pivotal moments and shifts and changes. And that is what I actually want to get into today. So you guys go listen to that episode for a full rundown of what happened. We can't get into that here. And just how amazing Veronica is. Her podcast is great, and she has lots of good marketing tips as well. What you and I have been talking about, let's go back to kind of end of 2023.
Okay.
I sent you a Voxer during one of our launches, and it was a Mayday signal. Like, what is going on in the industry right now, Veronica? Everything I have been doing for the past 5 to 6 years is no longer working. And it's been interesting because you were kind of putting a lot of feelers out there, talking about it on social media. I think you had done a couple webinars or like speaking engagements by this point, where you had seen things shifting over the course of 2023. We'll get into 2024 now and like where we're at mid 2024. But at that point in time, when I sent you that Voxer, like what were your initial thoughts of my business, but like the industry as a whole?
Yeah. And lovingly, I call it like the bat signal goes up, right? So like Gotham's on fire. The bat signal in the shape of a V goes out. And then it's like my favorite moment. I'm like, I'm running, I'm coming, I'm putting on the cape, right? I love it. Love the Mayday signals. When you Voxed me, you weren't, just to be fair, you weren't the only person that had Voxed me, DM'd me, messaged me, called me, text me, whatever, smoke signals. People are freaking out. And I think, first of all, if you're struggling right now in your business and you feel like it's just you, stop. That's a narrative that's not serving you at all. You punishing yourself in isolation and beating up your entrepreneurial identity is not serving you at all. This is a really tough time. 2024 is only compounding what we saw at the end of 2023. So what did we see in 2023? Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. In Paige's case, which is the case for a lot of us, people were ripping her off. So unfortunately, what we're seeing is marketing ideation, marketing novelty, marketing strategies are boring. Like we've seen it all. I think there's nobody who's like disillusioned to think that this, $2,000 course is going to change my life, or this 5-day, Facebook challenge, it's not going to have like this huge offer on day 4. Like I think a lot of people are wildly more internet savvy than they used to be, especially after COVID. Like COVID was that was when the gold was in the mountains. Everybody was rushing to take advantage of solopreneurship. We saw this increase in LLCs. Everybody was super excited for the opportunity. Okay, now fast forward in 2023, that's not a new thing. That's not a new opportunity. In fact, you have a lot of disillusioned human beings on the other side that got like chewed out. They spent all of this money and their lives haven't changed. It's actually gotten worse. Or the poor spouse, you go to the spouse like, can I please borrow $2,000 on the credit card? This will change my life. And then now they have course shame because they never finished it. So 2023 was this culminating thing where nothing seemed new. Everything seemed like a ripoff, and people's trust factor, like their ability to trust you, was at a rock bottom place. Because now, instead of you're innocent until proven guilty, you internet provider, now you are wildly guilty until you remotely try to prove yourself innocent, and good luck, because I've already been scammed or I've already been taken advantage of. So that was all happening. And it sucks for the good ones like you and for myself, for any of us. Like if we were actually great providers with integrity, it didn't really matter because we were being lumped into this like net of all of the other crappy marketers that had hurt people's trust for so long.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge testament to what's going on with the FTC right now. They're doing a massive crackdown on online coaches, and they are catching people and businesses who really don't have the ethical marketing behind it. And it's like that get rich quick scheme where they're saying, you can't do that anymore. Like you can't blatantly go out there, steal people's marketing ideas, steal people's copy, steal people's websites, all of that. But also it's not working. It's not working for the clients or customers. What you're promising them, they're not getting back. So the FTC is doing this. But I think for us as people who have been in the online space for a while, hopefully that's many of you tuning in here. For me, it was this, okay, I know what the industry was like pre-2020. And then TLP just kind of went from 0 to 180 very, very, very quickly during COVID. I think some businesses had trouble during COVID. Some businesses really soared during COVID. And that was us. That was one of us. We were one of them. And then I feel like in 2022, I started seeing things change. In 2023, I really started seeing things change, particularly in the wedding industry, which is whom we serve. So a lot of our customers with the Legal Paige are wedding industry professionals. Obviously, there was an uptick in 2020 with people entering the industry, leaving their 9-to-5 jobs, wanting to be entrepreneurs. And then in 2023, we started seeing, okay, the wedding boom from 2021 and 2022 is not happening anymore. And it's leveling out. I've talked about this with other friends of mine in the industry, particularly Maddie May, where she has this whole, conjecture and theory on what's going on in the industry right now. I think photographers are having a difficult time because if they entered the industry during these pivotal couple of years, 2020 to 2022, and then they saw what happened in 2023, and now we're like in the thick of it in 2024, who's going to make it and who isn't? And for us, when I sent that initial Voxer, it was, all right, what I have done for the past 5 to 6 years, marketing wise, how we're talking to our audience and prospective customers wasn't working anymore. And that week, it was a sale week. We've ran the same one every single year over Black Friday. We made some hard shifts and changes that Monday. I'll never forget it. And all day Tuesday, this is right before before Black Friday, but Black Friday week from the Monday to Monday is what I call it nowadays. And that Tuesday, we just changed everything. Like we changed all of our copy in our emails. We changed how I was pitching to people. You were like, the most important thing right now is money, but it's also like, what are they going to get from this? Like, what is the extra bit that you can sell people on that we hadn't marketed in that respect before? I know you were talking to a lot of people at that period of time. There was a lot of things happening in November of 2023. How do you feel that people shifted as a whole, marketing-wise, during the end of 2023? And then I want to get into 2024.
Well, look, it's hard because like the last thing you want to do, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so like if you're writing really strong marketing messaging and it's been working for you super, super well, which it has for a really long time for a lot of providers, they haven't really tweaked their marketing, if we're being really honest. Yeah. Where if you're in a different industry, especially a publicly traded space, like we have to be way more innovative. We have to always be tweaking the messaging. It can't just chill out. I think the online space got a little bit more runway. And so I think it was really the first time that a lot of people's tried and true messaging and positioning and unique selling propositions weren't converting like they used to. And you're right, business owners kind of panicked, and it was like, and usually the finger goes outward, right? Like, well, buyers aren't, and it's true. Like I'm not denying that buyers aren't trusting as much, and people are getting tight with their budgets, and people were being laid off. And like, there was a whole symphony of things that were happening globally outside of just the LLC that you were operating. Mm-hmm. However, I was frustrated by how few business owners took the finger and pointed it internally, like pointed it right back to themselves. Like, well, if our marketing's not working like it used to, then let's look at the marketing. Let's look at the messaging. Let's look at the positioning. Let's look at the hook. Let's look at the angle, because it's not resonating anymore. It's like, I mean, even comedians have new material every time they go on the road, or like, look at, we both love Taylor. I mean, how many albums does she pop out? Like, and not that the tried and true ones aren't, we are not obsessed with Enchanted. We're obsessed with Love Story, like, of course, but she's even still reinventing herself on a regular basis, and we are here for it. So like a lot of the conversations I was having with peers like you, or with members still within the walls of the Rainmaker residency, was like, when's the last time you touched your marketing messaging? And then on top of that, with you, especially, people were ripping you off, and now everybody sounded like what you were, like they basically copied your fame. They copied your success, because that's lazy marketing. So if you're the one leading the pack, you're the one running the 4-minute mile, it's even more important for you to be on that edge, to come up with a new hook, come up with a new thing, because people do trust you, but now you sound like people that can't trust, or that have hurt them in the past. So like, anyways, that was one big thing. If I had to be on a soapbox, I was frustrated that we as an industry I still don't think we've taken enough collective extreme ownership to be like, how have we contributed to this problem? What is our responsibility? Mm-hmm. And when it comes to people who are like going to make it or not make it, you're so spot on. I feel really bad for business owners, especially online business owners that came into an online business on the backside of COVID, when things were like so great. Everybody was stuck at home with a credit card, and they were just like flourishing. And now we're actually in a real business cycle. Like I remember growing up, my parents had an HVAC company. There was years where we didn't go on any vacations. They had to pull a second mortgage on the house. And then there was some years we went on a cruise ship. I don't even know, like 5 times in a year. So like normal business seasons and acumens, you're going to have winters, you're going to have summers, you're going to have seasonality. But COVID was this inflated dystopia type of seasonality that a lot of business owners thought this was what it is. This is what the internet must be like. And it's like, actually, no, the internet is also like every other business. You just haven't experienced it yet. And now not only are we experiencing like a harsh winter, like it's like a famine. So yeah, that's certainly what's going on. But I don't want I don't want this podcast to be so fear mongering, because there is a brightness to this. There is things that you can do, and I'm sure we're going to get into it. And that's obviously what you did. You took really great counsel, and you pivoted, and you were agile, and you were on it, because that's what visionaries and true innovators do.
Yeah. I mean, right after we had talked, you guys, I moved so quickly. If I can give any advice to someone, it's don't think so much. Don't overthink things. Have really good people that you can lean on, and don't lean on too many people. I've seen that in the industry, where you have like 5 business mentors and then 5 industry friends, and they're all telling you different things. I have 2. I have like one really good industry friend that I talk to about things, and one really good business mentor, and that's you. And I moved so fast, and that sale ended up going really well. It just was so much different at the beginning. And my biggest thing moving forward is I have 0 expectations when I go into a launch, so to speak. I don't like open cart, close cart necessarily. I don't have like an online course business, but I like to think of them as the same things. Like a big sale is still a launch to me, and my team and I put a lot of effort behind it, and, marketing behind it. And I have a lot of my face being present online and doing more things than I normally do. And so when the first couple of days didn't go as planned or as I had experienced for the, since 2020, I freaked out. And if I'm taking anything away from it, it's expect the unexpected for the next few years, because everything is leveling out and everything is kind of going back to whatever this normal online business world is going to be post-COVID. And it took us a few years to get there. And now I expect, okay, every month I have to change things. Every month our business is going to need to do something different because we can't expect the same sales to occur, the same affiliate marketing to push us over the edge like it did 2 years ago. Everyone's just not in the same place. And like you said, of course, the economy contributed to it. But I think your take on everyone being online all at the same time and seeing so much, and there's lazy marketing happening now. There's people thinking, oh, the online business is easy because it maybe was easy in 2020 and 2021. And now it isn't so much. What would you say to people though, that they're now in it? They're an online business owner, or they've been in the online business, maybe not for like 10 to 15 years, because I think those are different. Those are different people and they have different mindsets, because we all experienced what was going on from 2010 to 2020. And then we just had this massive thing that happened in 2020. And now we're all coming out on the other side and we're like, hey, we know what this is like. We've been here. But for people maybe that came in 2018, 19, and definitely people that have just come in since 2020, what do you predict for 2024? What words of advice would you give to them so that they don't say peace too quickly?
Yeah, it's not over. There's still a ton of money to be made. There's a ton of opportunity to harvest, a lot of money that can be made, but you're just going to have to be savvier. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, you can't just say, hey, I do this really cool thing, you should buy from me, and then expect people just to whip out their credit card. One, there's more choices for them. Like, it's no longer a blue ocean, it's a red ocean. There's a lot more providers. There's a lot of more copycats. There's a lot more smoke screen and mirrors, and like, we've been through it. So understand that buyer discernment is way the hell up. Like, people are smart and they're savvy. And so if a lot of your marketing is what I would call emotionally based marketing, which is like either really aspirational or really fear-based, but it's more predominantly emotionally trying to sell somebody, we're going to have problems. When you're in a tighter season, when money matters more and there's not so much discretionary income and discernment is up, you're going to have to get a lot more tangible and practical and more logical. And so like, that's the one thing that I remember you and I were talking about. Like, yes, you sell online products, or let's say whoever's listening to your podcast, if they're selling courses, if they're selling, ebook this, or, digital product that, or whatever. Those are things I literally can't touch, smell, feel. Like, none of my 5 senses are activated, honestly, other than just seeing it on a monitor or seeing it on a device. Mm-hmm. But the results that you give people can still be tangible, but you have to do the mental conversion for somebody. Don't allow somebody to burn all of this excess mental calories to try to figure out how your thing that they can't touch actually produces touchable results somehow. The marketing has to do the messaging to bridge that gap of knowing and not knowing for them better, right? So I think tangibility and logic-based marketing is actually on the rise. Even for me, I'm a consultant. What does that even mean? I consult. I provide counsel. I think it means lots of money, but what does that actually mean? And so even this morning, I was on a really significant sales call opportunity that could be a big client for me. And I'm really excited. But I could tell even in the nature of the questions in the past would have been so are you telling me in a couple months I will feel this way? And I'm like, yes, in a couple months you'll feel like you're not in the trenches of your business. Oh, but the questions today, just to give you a contrast, even for me as a consultant providing counsel, is okay, so when we start on July 1st, are you going to be having one-on-one meetings with everybody on the team? It's yes, you will literally see me have Google Calendar invites on everybody on the team. So I get to assess everybody's capacity and their abilities to know if they're in the right seat for your dream team. We're talking really practical things that they want to know is happening. That's very different natured conversation and questions that I would have for the same damn services maybe 6 months, a year ago. So just to give you an actual example of something that happened to me today, the more tangible, practical, logical that you can make something feel, even when you're in the business of digital, the more that would be advantageous for you. The more that you do not assume that somebody understands what they'll get away with you. Because I think there's a lot of, and I'm not saying this is immature business practice, but I do think you can tell that somebody who's had a longer business acumen that will understand the difference between benefits versus features. So I think a lot of you are describing your services in very maybe black and white terms. like, oh, like it's, a 30-page ebook, which is great for that tangibility that I'm talking about. But then like, what does that actually mean when it comes to what they want actually? So like one of the things that I talk about a lot in my marketing is what we call benefit extensions, or extending the benefit of what they're getting. So like in your case, a contract. So they're going to buy a client or a 1099 contract or something like that protects the relationship. Okay, that's the first benefit that they're getting from your product. Yay. Now extend the benefit.
Are you ready to officially make your business legally legit? Get started the right way with my free 10 steps to set up a legal business checklist. Packed with expert guidance from me, this step-by-step checklist helps you navigate the legal essentials of running your business quickly and easily. Don't leave your business vulnerable, my friend. This guide will teach you how to decide on your business structure, file your business name with your state, get a business bank account and EIN number, avoid commingling funds, properly sign your contracts through your business, get good business insurance, and get all the basic contracts that you need in place. Head to the episode description for a link to get access to this free 10-step checklist today.
What additional tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 benefits would they derive from that first transaction? Because they're probably buying from the first transaction that they're getting. But you and I both know when you have a healthy contract, you have a healthy relationship with this vendor. Then the third extension is, well, that vendor is probably going to give you even more business because now they feel safe in the transaction that they have with you. Like, I don't even know. I'm like spitballing here. But the idea is that you're extending the benefit beyond just the thing that they paid for. So not only are they paying for whatever you offered it, but now they're feeling like they're getting like $400, $500, $600 worth of value, but it only costs $100 or $200 in the first place. So like, I'm not saying that people are entitled, but we do live in an increasingly entitled society. So if that's the case, again, do the work to extend the benefit of your services beyond just the initial transaction on paper. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
100%.
Okay, just checking.
I'm nodding my head incessantly right now because we just had this conversation as a team. Again, you guys, 6 months later, we had a really great kind of start to this year. V gave us some good ideas of kind of taking a more e-commerce approach, maybe not just doing 2 sales a year. That's gone really well for us. You've given us a lot of really good business advice. She just Voxered me the other day and said like, hey, didn't you tell me one time that my like one idea that then you guys took and ran with and, we made it our own or whatever, made us probably like $100,000 or $200,000 more. And I was like, yes, it was. And I owe a lot of that success to you. This is kind of the same thing where I've been mulling this over now for a few months and it keeps coming back to the messaging and to this extended benefit where the beginning of the year, and now this is perfect transition to 2024. We took a different approach because you and I saw kind of what was happening at the end of 2023. We talked about it. I was obviously thinking about it, mulling it over, talking through this whole scenario and economy and everything that was going on a lot at the end of 2023. And then I went into the new year being like, okay, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to hit people where they are at in those months.
Love it.
And I know like what contracts they need or what their business is kind of doing right now, where the industry is at. And so we had a few good months. And then the sale happened again in May, which is our normal sale that we have. And it was very similar to the end of 2023 where I said, and a lot of ripping off happening. We had a lot of competitors doing the exact same thing at the exact same time or a week or two before us, where I was like, okay, obviously our marketing has worked because now everyone's taking note and everyone's doing what we're doing. But we didn't have enough time to change a lot of the copy, to change a lot of the messaging. And then it's like the end of May through now, throughout June, we've been talking through, okay, we need to get on the call with a lot of our customers. We need to go back to the beginning and just hear them speak. Like, where are you at? Why are you buying this contract? How is this helping you? What is the extended benefit that you expect from TLP or that would be awesome to get from TLP? So then we're hearing from them what we can do to make sure that they feel not only comfortable with that initial contract purchase, but 6 months from now, 1 year from now, they are still happy with that purchase and excited about it. And it's benefiting them even more, which of course we do with updates to contracts and all of the additional nurturing that I do as kind of, a legal big sister on their shoulder, so to speak. One thing I have a question about for you is like, for a service provider, so we've been talking a lot about digital products, people in the online space, courses. So a lot of people listening in are mainly just service providers, right? They got into the industry in 2020, 2021, say, or a little bit before that. And they did so well. Like they could service any client, anyone was available, primarily in the wedding and event industry. And now they're having a hard time selling. They're having a hard time hooking. They're having a hard time booking now for 2025 and 2026. What would you say to them? Because you took a scenario with, I love how you were like, okay, this is how I would extend your benefit. I want to dig into your marketing brain. How would you do that for a service provider?
Okay, hold on. Because you said something really genius that I want to piggyback off and extend the benefit of what you just said so people really understand. And I also love when
extending the benefit here if you get anything from this episode.
But also I love when you can listen to a podcast and immediately go and execute something that would be advantageous for you. Those are always the best, right? Besides listening to us girl fan over each other. I love you. No, you're pretty. No, you're pretty. Anyways, side tangent. Okay. So what you shared about talking to people. Okay, in the marketing world, it's called voice of customer. So you can do surveys, you can do voice of customer research. Fancy companies will hire really expensive people to do secret shopper or focus groups. The point is still the same, which is how your people talk to you is your marketing message. If you're listening to this podcast and you do not identify as a marketer and then immediately discredit yourself from being able to do or have success because you're I'm not a marketer, stop it. We're all marketers. We all have to market ourselves at all times, whether it's in a relationship, personal, romantic, with our children, with our children's teachers, name it. We're all in the ethical art of persuasion. Okay. So, but great marketing is just listening and repeating at its fundamental. You don't need a 15-year degree for me to tell you that. So the best way to do that is to conduct voice of customer research. And so again, I'll give you a tip. One thing that you're going to want to do, let's say you're really struggling with sales right now, you could throw in a bonus of some kind, hey, anybody that signs up for my services can have this extra thing. Anybody who buys this thing can have this extra thing. So it's a bonus. We're going to give them some kind of buy-in bonus. And that bonus could be a 15-minute, 20-minute laser session, free coaching session, right? Or, hey, I normally charge $1,000 for the hour, but I'm going to give it to you for 15 minutes. Here's what happens in that 15 minutes. In those 15 minutes, hopefully you have some cheap AI Meet Geek. That's one that I use, right? Some kind of software or even Zoom will transcribe at this point now. But basically you're recording the call, you're transcribing the call. And what's really happening, yes, you're loving on them, but what they're giving you is actually voice of customer transcript. Mm-hmm. So they're telling you what they want. They're telling you why they bought. When you conduct research right on the opposite side of the transaction, think about it. There's this really brief window where somebody goes from a prospect to a customer. Once they're a customer with you, their perspective of you changes forever. They know you. But when somebody barely just decides to swipe their credit card with you in any type of capacity, doesn't matter to me what business type or model that you run. As soon as they swipe, as soon as they give you their credit card information or their payment details, they go from being a prospect to being a customer. But there's this gap between what they thought they were going to get and what they know they've now received. There's this gap where they're still in this, I hope this is what I thought it was going to be. There's this moment. And if you can survey your people in this moment between prospect and customer land, it's some of the best gold I can even describe to you. And sometimes the best way to do that is having an immediate survey in your, let's say, order confirmation email. Or if you're a service provider, I would actually be doing phone calls. So I'm a service provider. I also had a marketing agency for years and years and years. So one of the things that you can do is hey, if you sign up with my services, I'm going to throw in a half-day free VIP intensive, or I'm going to do a 15, 20-minute laser coaching session, which I normally don't include. That's outside of scope, but I want to get you results immediately. So let's do this. I'm going to tack this onto your order. I'm going to tack this onto the service, right? But that call, as advantageous as it is for the person paying the bill, is actually even more advantageous for you, the service provider or the seller of goods, because you're getting these beautiful words that then can be put into your future marketing messaging, because you're hearing from them what they wanted, what they're hoping for, their aspirations and their fears in one call. So I just want to piggyback off what you said because it was genius. Now, if I was a service provider and I was struggling right now with sales, it's honestly probably your fault, but you don't know that yet. So I'm going to teach you why it's your fault. And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know, but I'll teach you. So if you're a service provider and people can buy your services at any time, that's the first signal to you that you require more effort, not in pushy sales, but just the fact that somebody can buy from you at all times means that they're not making it a priority. Because why would I make a priority today that I can do 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now?
Yeah, let's talk about it from like a photographer's perspective, because it's so specific to like you're marketing the same services every single day and people probably don't want it on that day.
100%. So how do you close? Well, you're going to need urgency. So a little sprinkle of urgency, a little sprinkle of scarcity. So people will put off what they know they can do unless you inform them that they actually don't have that right to push it off, because it won't be available to them if they were to choose to push it off. But they don't know that unless you tell them that. So like hotels do this to me all the freaking time. Like we're trying to book our Paige knows as she's been to our event. So we're trying to book the hotel for our Making It Rain event. And they do this on the call, like, okay, but we're already booked for September this, we're already booked for October this, we're already booked up for like immediately by them just informing me of their limited capacity, I feel scarcity. I'm like, uh-oh, like there's not endless choices that I can just put my event on a date. And not only is there not, endless choices, now I'm feeling the responding urgency to book sooner so I can claim my date before it's taken by somebody else, because now other people will know there's also scarce resources. So urgency and scarcity, I think sometimes are a service provider's best friend. The other thing that I will tell you that I think is working really, really well in 2024, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about this publicly, so I'm just going to disclose it.
Let's do it.
I think it's proximity. So if you know buyer discernment is up and if you know trust is down, the worst thing you can do is distance yourself further from the client. I would be doing the exact opposite. I would actually be getting closer to my client, but they don't know that you've done that. They don't know that's like a new thing that you're providing in value until you inform them that you're providing that in value. So if a typical, let's say it's a photographer, a typical onboarding process is like XYZ, we're going to have a call and then I'm going to show you like, a mood board. I don't even know, whatever. Like you have this process. You're like, this is my typical process, but what I'm doing for just the 2024 season, because we're seeing this new like rise of, I don't know, XYZ bride or XYZ event or whatever. Like this is where you can like really, I think, flex your expertise about how you know the space. Because we're seeing this, even though this is our typical way that we work with our clients, what we're actually going to be doing for just the 2024 season is we're actually going to be doing a tour of the facility that we don't normally have in the contract, but let's say that's out of scope. We're actually going to be touring at least 3 venues with you, even the 2 that you don't pick, but we want to be present with you so we can show you all the opportunities for your photography if we pick those 3, going through those 3 venues, because you can't see it the way that I see it as a photographer. You're looking at it from a bride perspective, your mom's perspective, the logistics perspective, but I want to show you from my perspective of all the opportunities for your pictures, whatever. And it doesn't even have to be let's say it's not even a physical thing, because that's time consuming. What if it was a virtual walkthrough where you're like, you and her are going through the pictures of the hotel on the website together, and you're just pointing out from your photography standpoint what you think would be cool that she never saw it that way. My whole point is like proximity means closeness. So if people are less trusting, get closer, show them you're the real deal. I think that would be, if I could like sprinkle something on a service provider's like arsenal right now, it would be proximity.
So important. I have 2 things to follow up with that. One, that is gold for service providers, because especially in the photography industry, for example, it's like you book and then you don't even see the clients until the end. So I was going to ask you, like, give me an example of what more we could offer our clients in that respect when we're not going to see them till 12, 18 months from now. Maybe if it's a wedding or an elopement, we have like an engagement session in between. But you're like, hit them where you're going to get the most gold in terms of your marketing campaigns and your marketing efforts to other prospective customers and clients. And you're right, it's that proximity at the very, very, very beginning. What can you give them in terms of you before other people would enter their lives in their like vendor-scape, so to speak, is what I was gathering from what you were saying.
Now I haven't, so this is what happens when I talk to Paige. My idea factory turns on. So if I knew I was a photographer for brides, and let's say, because it depends, here's the funny thing about working with brides. I've been married once, hopefully ever once, but like, I'm just saying, like what you can't predict in your clients is the order in which they book their things when planning a wedding. So like maybe they're booking the photographer first and then buying their dress second, or maybe they bought the dress first, or they bought the pictures, whatever, depending on the order. But if I was a photographer for brides, one of the questions I would ask them is like, so have you already picked your dress? And they're like, no, I haven't picked my dress yet. I'm like, okay, so one of the services that I want to render to you, or that I think would be, you tell me, is sometimes brides don't know the type of dresses and how they'll look in pictures. So do you know what silhouette that you want to wear? Or do you know what because what I'll do then is I'll have, AI can help you do stuff like this. I'll go through your pictures or whatever. But let's say I knew, because I remember when I was a bride, I knew what silhouette I wanted, which was like the A-frame or whatever. Yeah. Oh, it was so pretty. I love my dress. But I remember getting the photographer
like
first.
I need a V-neck. It's very
flattering. It was like a sweetheart scallop neck. Oh, so beautiful. Anyways, but I remember I had it custom made for me. And so it was a really, really, really long process, but I wanted the photographer that I wanted. So I booked my photographer first, and the dress wasn't done. But let's say my photographer was like badass and went next level. She could be like, okay, so I know you're telling me what dress that you want. And I'm like, yeah, this is the kind of dress that I want, but I'm having it made. And here's some of my inspiration. She's like, okay, let me show you some of the pictures of the brides that I've done with that type of silhouette and some of the cool things that we did in the pictures, or some of the cool venues that really articulate that silhouette, like in a staircase or whatever, Like if you can, that's another strategy. I'm going to give you another strategy on this call. It's called barnacling. You think about like an ocean barnacle that barnacles to the piers. If you, as a service provider, can barnacle your expertise and service to the other services you know that they will be using or rendering in the process of this total thing, you are invaluable. They don't look at you just as a photographer. Now you're like this wedding whisperer. Like now you have insight into more than just the one thing they bought from you. Like that's what I would be doing. Come on.
Barnacle the crap out of them. And also you're getting them excited for your services before they're even happening. You're getting all of this specific marketing insight that V's been talking about today. And I think you're totally right. Proximity is important. Obviously, people just care about pricing, and we're all dealing with that. Like, how are we pricing? How are we hitting people where they're at? What can they afford? But you're adding on value. What is the extended value? What is the additional value you can give them? I mean, my head is spinning too, because, I start thinking about marketing as well. And I'm like, a family photographer can do this because your session might be 4 weeks out, but you're hitting pain points for people, but offering the proximity to you in the respect that that parent can reach out to you and get advice from you on locations.
Outfits.
Outfits.
Yes.
I feel like we just do things the same way that we've always done, which is here's some location suggestions. Here's some outfit suggestions. They don't want that. They want you. They want you to tell them. And then you're going to book that person over every other photographer. Okay, this is great. This is great. I think their heads are also spinning. One thing I was going to say in addition was, you guys, I'm even doing this. Like my team knows proximity to me is so important for our customers. But it's also the one thing that I have very limited time to give, which we all do. But I was just on a call this morning and I was talking with an affiliate on how we could potentially do this kind of partnership together and new affiliate campaign together. And she was like, I want to do a bonus for my audience. And I said, well, the bonus is proximity to me. So let's talk through what they would want. And we came up with this genius bonus for them. They get something that other customers haven't gotten before. And I'm going to use that time and time again. It's like, you're validating what I'm doing on this call, but you're also telling me, Paige, do it more, think outside the box. It's not just, you guys, it's not just how many additional hours can I serve them? How many, what other complimentary sessions can I give them? That's not it. You have to think so differently. What are other people in your industry not offering? What is your expertise? What level of proximity? Love that.
But I will say, look, I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm a 16-year marketing person, but I still work with marketers. What I mean by that is you could be super smart in your lane, but you can't ever be objective with yourself because you can't read your label through the jar. And so like, it's very difficult to do what we're talking about right here, right now with just yourself. So it's like a testament to what you were saying, like having a really trusted source, having a mentor, having a friend, having a colleague, having somebody to just play mental ping pong with actually extracts your best ideas. Because when doing it in isolation, it's actually really, really, even for me, it stifles all my creativity. Being on this call with you, I can already tell that my idea factory is turned on and activated, because that's what happens when you have two smart people who are just like ping pong, like one idea that I wanted to throw out there is like, let's say somebody listening to this podcast right now is having email engagement issues. Like we've seen that too. Not only are they not buying, they're not opening your emails, they're not clicking your emails. Like we're having email issues and the money is in the emails. So if I knew that was happening and I wanted to leverage proximity, one thing that I could do is I could host a monthly call where anybody who actually responds to my emails throughout the month of June gets invited to a free jam session. So like, let's say you were doing like a weekly newsletter and I just changed mine from the Rainmaker report to the weekly dose of vitamin V snaps. I'm so excited about it. But like, if I wanted that newsletter to like pop off and I really wanted to make sure people were like jiving with the new content, every email could be like, hey, reply back with where you stand on this issue, or reply back here. And then I could take all the responses and personally invite them to a free session at the end of the month where we just jam out on their marketing for fun. Like there's so many ways that you can leverage proximity at scale and still get them to get you where you need to be when it comes to your sales or your emails or whatever might be lacking for you right now. And that's applicable to anything. Instagram, emails, sales, launches. I mean, you can use proximity even at scale everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like you right now. My wheels are
It's going, right? Yeah.
This is totally what happens with Veronica and I is we just start talking and then I'm thinking, how can I implement this for TLP? Or we're kind of building the law firm out even more now as well. So it's like business number 2. And I feel like I'm not starting from scratch, but like close to the beginning. And how can I implement all of these strategies for that? So I love it. Beyond what we just talked about for people, the online space moving forward in 2024, you said, we talked about email marketing just a little bit. We talked about proximity. We talked about extending benefit. Give me 2 more pieces of advice marketing wise that you would tell people to lean into for the rest of these 6 months?
Okay. So here's my other thing that I've been, one of the services that I render is I'm a private Rainmaker for clients. I help them from like 1.0 to 2.0 if they don't want to share me in a group container. I get it. But one thing that I've been telling almost every single private client that I work with is, and these, by the way, my private clients already have hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. Like they're already wildly successful, and yet they're even plateauing. They're in the bumpy road to nowhere. So it's not just the little people, and it's actually everybody. This is a universal kind of collective crisis where things aren't resonating. So, but part of resonating is also making sure that you're worthy of resignation. Like, what I mean by that is this is what I told my team, even for me. I'm like, no more content on social media that is Diet Coke Veronica. Enough. It's either full on sugar Mexican Coke glass bottle Veronica or nothing at all. So what I mean by that is a lot of us, I think, are still operating, like the stupid fitness model of, I don't even know, decades ago was like calories in, calories out. Okay, well, that's actually been debunked and it's lies. But same thing as this advice in marketing, well, it's better to be there than not at all. Lies. Lies. I think a lot of us are pumping out subpar content just because we want, it's better to do than not do. All the algorithms are really, really hurting you the more crappy content you post that nobody's responding to. So my counsel to you on this podcast is it's either full conviction you or no conviction at all. So what I did, even for my own social media process internally, we just gutted the whole thing. Literally, Paige, I just gutted my entire social media process. And now it's literally called the weekly Rage Fest. I'm not even exaggerating with you. So every Monday, we did it earlier
Rage
today.
Musical. We just alluded back to T Swift again, but I love this that you're taking on that.
So every Monday, early in the morning, after the caffeine's kind of kicked in, It's me, it's my designer, it's my copywriter, it's my marketing coordinator. It's like, it's just whoever on the team wants to participate. It's inclusive of everybody. And it's literally called a rage fest. And the idea is like, piss me off, make me mad, and then put the damn camera on. And that becomes more of the social media content. So same thing with Paige, right? So when Paige popping off on me about my form on my sales page, I'm like, ooh, like, can we put that on camera, right? If you are an ethical provider, business owner, of course you're going to be pissed off on how crappy people are treating your customers. It bothers you. It should bother you if you really care about your people, okay? But that part of you, that mama bear, that Beyonce, whatever you want to call her or him inside of you, we all have it. When my finger starts waving around, my husband's like, oh, Latina, she's out. Veto's out. Like, watch out. It's like the Cuban, right? So like, but if that part isn't what's being captured and then provided to the world, conviction sells. And so if I can't pick up your conviction on camera, I don't really want to work with anybody. I need to work with somebody that will be there for me more than sometimes I can even be there for myself. And so like, that's the stuff that needs to go on camera. Have a rage fest, put it on camera, have your team try to piss you off with different things that they're seeing on the news. And like, that becomes a new process. That's fun. And it's like so engaging because the energy is super high. So that's like my first tip of the 2 that you asked me for. And then my last tip, oh man, I think we're going through a good purge, not a bad purge, a good purge. For me, it excites me to think that people who are not the real deal will realize that it's actually not so easy. And you can't just scam your way to the top, and hopefully we'll just leave, giving more space for the good ones to like make it through. But that means you need more people vouching for your goodness. So not that like I think everybody knows that testimonials are important and social proof is important, but I'm talking like 10x that. Like, not to be Grant Cardone because I'm not a fan, but just that concept that when people tell you Veronica's the real deal, that means more than you telling people that you're the real deal. And I think sometimes we don't have an actual strategy for word of mouth, like an actual practical strategy for word of mouth beyond just like, ooh, clip it. It's a really good testimony. Stick it on the page. No, I think if it was me, and especially in a service providing capacity, I'd be sitting down with my team, with my mentor, and I would be like, goal for the summer is to figure out a legit word of mouth strategy beyond the typical. And if I could give one book recommendation that I love, because I love books, it's a book called Talk Triggers by Jay Baer. And he talks about word of mouth strategy, and it's a great book. And so if you wanted to have a little bit of homework, if you're a reader, because usually podcast listeners are also readers, then Talk Triggers is a really good one.
I'm going to put it on my audio book list next. Yeah, I haven't read that. I was wondering if you were going to say something about kind of the economy and like consumer spending, or if you're concerned about that. My follow-up is with people, I feel like us as service providers or people who are in the online space, we're so worried about consumer spending. Like, they're worried about it. We get emails every day that are like, this is really expensive. Can I get a discount? Like, retroactive discount from a month and a half ago. I mean, it's clearly at top of mind for clients and customers. What advice would you give to us as marketers of our own businesses moving forward? I think we're going to see a lot of changes. I would assume with the politics that are going to shake out here at the end of 2024, I think things are going to definitely change in 2025. At least I hope so. But what strategies can business owners take right now to maintain their market share, so to speak, and their customers that they have?
I think I have a controversial take on this, because in one sense, I hear you, and I don't disagree that people, like, even when I ran credit cards a couple months ago, it was the most credit card declines I've ever seen. So like, I'm not saying that it's not happening, that people that had money and had access, even at my level. Okay. However, here's the controversial take. Get ready, brace yourself. People are spending how much money to go see Taylor Swift in Paris? How much money to go shop and buy the clothing and buy the things? And like, so wait a minute. People actually are spending buckets of money. They're just not spending stuff that they don't want, or it's not the experience of a lifetime. So like, not to be rude, but if you're a service provider, if you can't prove to me or sell me with conviction that your service is an experience of a lifetime, I think there's room for work to be done, because people are spending money.
That is the best way to end this episode. It was like, mic drop. It's so true. It just comes back to everything we just talked about. Like, what are all of these things that you're leveling up, whether that's a coaching package that you have, whether that's proximity to you, whether that's just services you're providing. You can't just think, okay, book with me now and you're going to get X, Y, Z 6 months from now. That's how you're going to feel if we're wrapping this up with a bow. That's what you were saying. Like, it's no longer the feeling. It is, but it's the whole process. I want to feel that through the whole process. Give me the full damn Taylor Swift experience.
I want the friendship bracelets. I want to listen to the lyrics. I want to think about all of it. And yeah, I don't need to say any more than I said. It was already good. It's just like lazy marketing's not working. Lazy business owners aren't going to make it. How else do you want me to put it? See, that's the Beyonce part that comes out of me. Like, enough is enough. Now is the time to double. If Netflix is tripling their efforts, like, think about Bridgerton. You want to talk about pop culture. The Bridgerton launch was genius.
It was.
But it was also 3 times the amount of effort that they've done in the past. They broke it out into 2 segments. They took that marketing calendar over across months and months and months. They did 2 red carpets. It was wild. So even if juggernauts like Netflix are doubling and tripling their launch efforts to have the same results, what makes us think as small business owners that we can do less to have more? What?
You can't anymore. You can't. If you want to maintain the business that you have to put so much more into marketing than you have been in the past 4 years. That's a really good wrap up here. I love the Bridgerton. I was following you on social media. You guys just go follow Beyonce. We'll share where to follow her. But you went off about Bridgerton and how the marketing campaign behind it. And then it was just really terrible, honestly. Everyone agrees online too, which is interesting to me because I always think from a marketing perspective, okay, they put all this time and effort into it. And now they actually are benefiting from people not liking the second half, because now people want the next season to see if it's as bad. But it's because everyone has been talking about this now for a month and a half. I mean,
we're not satisfied. We have an open loop. It's not closed. It's still a cliffhanger. Damn it. It was not my favorite just between the two of us. I'm still here for Queen Charlotte and the Duke. Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but we're all looking forward to the next season. Yes. What's going to happen? Are they going to up the ante? Are they going to actually give it to us as writers and producers? Yeah. Okay. So good. You guys, Veronica, I'm obsessed. We could probably talk for another 3 hours about business and marketing and strategies and what this person should do. If they want to talk to you more, where do they find you? What are kind of your offerings? We didn't really introduce people to you too much at the beginning, but I would love for people to follow you and love on you like I do.
Okay, well, I'm the only Veronica Romney that I know of. So if you just literally go to veronicaromney.com, it is all there. All the links to all the things are there. And then I would say, if your people are listening and just want to jam out, I think what's really valuable is either we can just do an hour session. If you got a lot of value out of this hour podcast, I'll rock your world in 60 minutes because it's just how I show up, and I show up with a lot of conviction. I'm really excited. And
she will. I'm a testament to this. Yeah. I've done power hours with her and we've gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars of ideas from it. Yeah,
it's really cool. Fun. It's cool. And then the other service I think is really fun that a lot of people don't know that I have. It's called Launch Pass. So it's like Class Pass for the gym, but Launch Pass. So if you want me to look over different pieces of marketing assets for you, so a sales page at a time or a brochure at a time, or your, an ad or whatever. If you just want me to look over the things that you're doing, writing, designing, whatever, that one's so easy. And I think that's really economical. And that's just basically credits, and you can use them whenever you want for however long you want.
Love it. I'm going to link everything in the description so that you guys can get access to Veronica in all of these capacities. I think I'm also probably going to link our office chair. Oh, yeah. Veronica's the one that introduced me to this fabulous office chair, and I'm obsessed with it. And now I buy it for all my team members. It's great, but it's because Veronica recommended it to me. And we have friends as well that were in Rainmaker residency. We all have this chair. I don't know. Maybe it's just the chair chair that everyone needs to get all these ideas.
It's the CEO chair.
It's the CEO chair where we'll all make sure that you guys are sitting in the right chair. Veronica, thank you so much for your time. I know it's so valuable. You guys, I hope you got a lot out of this. It had really nothing to do with anything legal, but it had a lot to do with what I do as a business owner and who I look up to and who mentors me and who is the genius marketer that I would go to if you have marketing questions.
So, thanks, Paige.
Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Be sure to visit thelegalpaige.com for contract templates, blogs, YouTube videos, and additional legal resources. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes and leave me a review and rating. It truly means so much to me to hear your feedback and inspires me to continue creating podcast content. Also, I want to personally invite you to my free Facebook group at tlpfacebook.com, where you will get access to me, my legal team, and thousands of other entrepreneurs in there for unlimited business and legal Q&A. Until next time, my friend.